Hey guys, good morning, afternoon, or evening, whatever time you are tuning into the channel today. Just want to say thank you to each and every one of you. Guys, last time I checked, I was around 360 subscribers, so that number just keeps climbing daily. Inching closer to that 500 mark where we'll do another giveaway. But I just wanted to hop on here this morning. We're going to be doing a little video for Chuck. So Chuck, if you're watching, today's your day, my man. So I recently did a trade with Chuck Wiggins over at Chuck's Knives and picked up this beauty here. This is a 1977 case rail splitter. It has the Delrin handles, but guys, it's still just a beautiful knife. The blades are in really good shape as far as their fullness and stuff like that. Do have a little bit of scratching and some wear on the blades, and obviously you can see that patina, but there's a little spot here on the back, as you can tell, kind of, that there is a little bit of, I don't know if maybe something got too hot around that Delrin, kind of maybe melted the Delrin just a little bit, but we're going to try to sand all that out and get this thing brought back to glory. The bolsters are in real good shape. The blades are actually in real good shape, just some fine tuning and stuff like that. So we're going to be working on that today. But also in that trade with Chuck, I got this beauty right here. This is a Bertram Cutlery Hen and Rooster. It's a beautiful dark red bone. This knife also is in great shape. It's just a beautiful, beautiful knife. So I've been carrying that around today. I sent him Spyderco Mannix 2 lightweight in translucent blue. It's a great knife. I just don't carry it a lot. It's probably one of my least carried Spydercos. But he was wanting to get his hands on one, and I wanted him to get his hands on an American one, since he was sending me 2 great knives, especially a nice vintage American rail splitter. So hopefully by the time y'all are seeing this video, he's received his package, and I hope he's as happy with his trade as I am with my portion of the trade. But he was wanting me to do a cleanup video on this, so that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to get in here, get this thing brought back to glory, try to get some of these little imperfections out, and then eventually it'll probably end up in the display with all the other case knives. I've got another one on the way. It's not a rail splitter, but I believe it's a 1976 case whaler. So can't wait for that to get in. It has I believe it's walnut handles, and it's a single sheep foot blade. It has the bell. It looked to be in really good shape, and I got it for a great deal, I feel like. So hopefully that'll be here maybe by the end of the week or the beginning of next week. So that'll be something we'll be looking at and maybe clean up or see what kind of shape it's in when it actually gets here. But other than that, guys, I just want to say thank y'all again for all y'all do. We're currently at 360 something subscribers, almost daily. You know, if I check it, which I don't check it so much daily anymore, I might check once a week or something. Every time I've checked, it's continued to climb a little bit. So we're inching closer to that 500 subscribers. So once we get there, you know, I'll try to think of something to give away that's worthy of a 500 subscriber giveaway. But you know, thank you guys. You know, your support of the channel has been outstanding. All your likes, shares, comments, everything that you guys have sent me. You know, I'm on here for no reason other than to make content and to possibly help others, you know, as much as possible. And you know, the gifts that you guys have sent, you know, just the trades that I've had the opportunity to do with you guys, I'm super thankful for that. There's so many of you out there that have reached out in some way, shape, or form, and for that I'm super appreciative. But without any further ado, guys, we're going to go ahead and hop over here to the table and get this cleanup and restoration on the way. So I just want to thank y'all, each and every one of you. I hope you have a great day. Stay classy, and God bless. All right, guys, so here we are back in the lab again. Going to be working on this 77 case rail splitter. It's a beautiful knife. It's got great snap. Not a lot wrong with it, just a little bit of cleanup on the blades needed. Going to sand these scales and the bolsters, get it polished up as much as possible. Going to take off some of this patina, but we're going to try to get it back up to show quality as much as possible. This is going to be a display piece here in the shop, in my display for years to come, until eventually they'll probably be passed down to my kids and hopefully my kids' kids. Just a great piece. This came to me from Mr. Chuck Wiggins over at Chuck's Knives. If you guys aren't following him on TikTok and Facebook, check him out. Subscribe to his channel over on YouTube. He's a great guy, getting his channel started out, and I'm very appreciative to have the opportunity to do this trade with him. But this is a beautiful knife. The rail splitter was named such due to its size. It's a lot larger than a lot of the jackknives that Case put out, but it was also kind of a symbolism of the job of a rail splitter. It was a hard worker, known for hard work ethic and its ability to do tough jobs. Little fun fact, it was also Abraham Lincoln's nickname, and they say, some believe that Case's history and the name of the rail splitter came from Abraham Lincoln and his nickname being the rail splitter prior to his presidential days, when he was still pioneering out through Appalachia and stuff like that. He was known for being quite tough and quite the hard worker, and his ability to split logs for building fences and stuff was pretty outstanding. So they're believed to be some ties to the name of the rail splitter for Case being linked to Abraham Lincoln. But that's aside. That's all for the little history lesson for the day. We're going to go ahead and get into this. Again, doesn't need a ton of work, but we're going to get cleaned up, sand the blades. But I think we're going to start on the Delrin handles first. And as always, guys, I like to start out going from 600 on up, and so that's where we're going to start today. I'm going to go ahead and close these blades up, and we're going to sand over the bolsters and everything, because at the end, I mean, you already know, most all these little scratches is going to be taken out. But to save some time on the video, that way you're not watching a 45-minute to an hour video of me doing the same thing over and over again, I'm going to go ahead and start out with the 400, and then I'll come back when I've reached about 800 to 1,000, and then so on and so forth until we get to the desired grit, which will probably be 5,000 on the bolsters, just because I want to bring out a nice polish shine on the Delrin. The scales, the springs, everything like that. The bolsters, I want them to look as polished out as possible and get as much shine back into this Delrin as possible. So thank you guys for being here. I hope y'all enjoy the video. And I know it's going to take out some of this jigging on the Delrin, but I'm not super worried about that, just because on the backside there are a couple little spots that I want to try to correct. I don't know if it might have gotten sat down on a stove or some kind of hot surface or something like that, but there is a little spot on the backside that looks like maybe it got heated up or was a little bit too warm somewhere, and did a little bit, not anything that's terrible or caused significant damage. It's just enough to notice that there's a little bit of difference in the pattern on the back. You can kind of see it. See if I can get it up here to where you can actually see it. It's just hard to see from this pattern, but you can kind of tell there's like a little section there. It kind of looks like it might have got a little hot, and maybe somebody sat it on a stove or a hot surface or something. We're going to try to take some of that out. But I mean, this is an older knife. I want it to be an older knife. It's not going to look brand new. I don't want it to look brand new. I just want it to look like it hasn't had the roughest of lives. You know, I like some of these older knives. I like the character that they have just from the years of use and things like that. I mean, that's what they're there for, is to use. I do have some knives that are going to spend their whole life in a display. They'll never be toted or carried or whatever, and that's fine. But I have my selection of quite a few that I like to actually carry that will be used, and they'll have a story to tell one day. But that's where we're at with the 600. I'm going to go ahead, work my way up, or that was 400, excuse me. I'm going to go ahead and work my way up through 600, 800, and I'll come back at 1,000. All right, guys, so we made it up to 1,000. Same process, you know, back and forth. You know, I'm trying not to bear down too much. You know, I'm not trying to cause too much heat from the friction of the sandpaper and all that. But, you know, I want to take off enough material that I'm getting out some of those imperfections in the Delrin, some of those scratches and places like that that we were worried about. Look like they might have got a little melted or overheated or something like that. And remember, guys, when you're sanding, I always try to sand in one direction. That way you're not causing a bunch of vertical and horizontal scratches. It's easier to buff out when you continue one direction constantly over and over again. But it's already looking a lot better on the back. I think a lot of that stuff wasn't in there too deep. There's a couple little spots, kind of looks like a, you know, almost like welding splatter. Something hot had popped up on it or something. But I feel like it's gonna turn out pretty well. So go ahead and wipe this down a little bit. Like I said, that's at 1,000. Already starting to get that nice brushed finish on the that brush finish look on the bolsters, but not much on the brushed look. I'm going to continue on, and we're going to go ahead 1,200, 1,500, 2,000. We'll look at it again at 2,000 and see if I want to keep on going and polish the bolsters out to 5,000 or not. But I definitely want to get the scales polished out to 3,000 or 5,000. That way they get that nice sheen on them. So just bear with me, guys. I'll be back once we get up to 2,000. All right, boys and girls, so go ahead and hit this with that 2,000 now. Just kind of see where we're at as far as our shine is going. And you know, when you're doing this, guys, like I said, you know, in other videos, I prefer to do all the sanding and stuff by hand. I feel like I have better control of it, and I can get the desired effect of it better when I sand by hand. Plus, when you're using fiber wheels and stuff like that, they can get too hot and they can burn the Delrin and cause, you know, marring and stuff like that. And that's definitely something we don't want, because then that's just something else that we have to work on fixing. So I always try to do this by hand. If you Google how to do it, I mean, a lot of times Google is going to tell you that you should wet sand it, you know, because it's the Delrin and it could get too hot. But I've never had an issue with sanding it this way. I'm obviously not moving as quick as, say, my Dremel or a grinder or something like that. So I don't think I've really ever created enough heat from friction to cause any damage to the knife that I'm working on. So, you know, to each their own. You know, whatever is familiar to you, whatever you're comfortable with, you know, that's what I recommend doing. You don't have to do it the same way I do it. You know, some people like to pick and choose different things. I mean, whatever works best for you. I mean, that's what I recommend. So we're already starting to get a little bit of that reflection in the bolsters back. So we're going to go ahead, hit it with the 3000 and the 5000. This is where you'll really start to see that mirror shine on the bolsters. And it'll start bringing out that shine on that Delrin handle. But also, guys, a lot of people don't necessarily want to go all the way polished out to, 3,000, 5,000, or 10,000 on the bolsters. I personally like the polished look. I think it's a nicer looking finish. But again, to each their own. This is what I like, so this is how I'm going to do it. You can get a great finished look stopping at 2,000 on the bolsters. It'll give it that nice brushed stainless look for a more rugged look. But I prefer the classic look with the polished bolsters. I just feel like it's a little bit more elegant, and it's going to be in my display, so I want it to look its best in there. So we're going to go and polish it out to 5,000. And then once I get this polished out, of course, with the 5,000, we'll work on the blades, getting the blades tuned up, getting them polished out a little bit. Try to get out a lot of those scratches out of them, and just get everything like that cleaned up. We'll come back, we'll put some wax or polish or something on the Delrin, just kind of give it a little bit of moisture back. But overall, guys, I think it's going to be a beautiful knife once we're finished with it. You can see those bolsters now, reflection in it and the shield. So I'm going to pause it. I'm going to get this stuff set up so I can start working on the blades. So just give me a couple minutes, I'll be right back. All right, guys, so back with the blades now. I'm going to start again at 400. I'm going to work my way up and hopefully be able to achieve the results that I want, stopping at 1200. I don't want to have a polished finish on the blade. I want to have a nice satin finish, but I do want to get out a lot of those deep scratches that were in the blade. So that is the plan anyway. So especially along that blade edge. Remember, when you're sanding on the blade, always try to have something to brace the blade on, especially around that pivot area. You don't want to cause any undue stress, especially on an older knife. You take the risk of, making the blade loose. You don't want to start getting wobble in there, or possibly bending or breaking the pin, things like that. So I always try to have something to support the knife on whenever I'm working on the sanding. But again, this method will start on 400. I'm gonna work my way up to 800 or 1,000, and then I'll come back. One thing I did forget to mention, guys, normally on some of my knife cleanups, I'll reuse a lot of the sandpaper, 2, 3, 4 times, just depending on the work that I did previously. This knife, however, I did cut multiple new strips of sandpaper just because I wanted to be able to take off a decent amount of material on the Delrin and kind of be able to grade how much I'd removed or things like that. And it's harder to do with older used paper just because a lot of the grit has already been removed from the sanding process. So I did start new with new paper on this knife just because I wanted to get the best quality work and the best quality done removed. So I did use all new strips, But after this knife, these pieces will probably be used on the next couple knives I clean up because they can be used more than once. I just wanted a fresh start on this one to achieve the best results possible without having to stop mid cleanup and cut more or anything like that. So just wanted to throw that in there, guys, give you a little info. You can definitely reuse your sandpaper, but if you're starting a knife, this is a little bit better quality knife than some of them I'll clean up, so I wanted it to be new paper. So, but again, just working our way up, 400, 600, now on the 800. This will remove a lot of those scratches. Only difference is here you will see that I do go up and down on the blade, just because it helps hide some of those scratches from sharpening or cutting and things like that. So I will go up and down on the blade to blend in those deeper scratches like that. But then afterwards, I always try to come back lengthwise on the blade just to conceal most of that, and ultimately giving you more of a brushed stainless look on the blade when you're done. And this isn't always going to take out all the scratches. I mean, there's some scratches that'll probably still be in the blade, you know, some of the deeper scratches, but I didn't want to go down to, you know, 320 or 140, 150, whatever, 180, any of that, because that just takes off so much material, and I didn't really want to do that. But you can already see it's taking a lot of those scratches out. It's nice and smooth. Going to go ahead and hit it with 1,000 and 1,200. And once I get done with the 1,200, we'll come back and look at it. All right, guys, and there we go. That is after sanding with the 1,200 grit. Has a nice, beautiful brushed stainless finish on it, satin finish, however you want to call it. I think that's about as high as I'm going to go, because if I go on up to 1,500 or 2,000, I think it's going to start giving more of a polished mirror look, and that's not what I want for the blade. I want the blade to still have a little bit of age and character on it, because it is an old knife. It's an iconic knife. So that's what we're going to do here. I'm going to repeat the same process on the pen blade. Probably won't make y'all watch all that, because it's just going to be the same process, 400 up to 1,200 on the blade. But once I come in to shorten this kick, I'll come back. All right, guys, so got the blade sanded out. Both of them I went ahead and sanded up to 1,200. Little pen blade, it has a little bit more patina left on it, and still has this little issue right here out at the bottom. It's got a couple little spots on it. I might come back and try to correct that with my little sander attachment here on the Dremel. But the first thing we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and kind of bring down this kick some. I don't want to take off a whole lot, but I want to take off enough that it'll sit down flush. You know, and this is something you might have to just do a little bit at a time, and that almost looks like it'll be perfect. Still get to the nail nick, but that blade is not sitting up above now, so you don't have to worry about accidentally stabbing yourself or cutting yourself. But while I have this out, as you can see, there's a little spot right here on the tip. Let's see if I can. I'm not real sure exactly what took place, but I'll have to refine this tip here in a minute. But I want to get those little nicks out of the tip. You can see there's a couple of scars on the back. I'm not trying to get all those out, but definitely want to get these out on the tip just because of where they're at. I think that took out a majority of those little nicks. You can still see them right at the very tip, but I feel like once I actually put an edge back on it, I think it'll take out most of that on the bottom. I think that'll eliminate a lot of that on the bottom there. But really, guys, I've just got to get in here and give me another sander and just get it set up and make it a little bit easier on some of the things. Yeah, I think it's going to turn out fine right there at the end. Take most of those little nicks out right on the very tip, but I believe most of that's going to end up polishing out. So overall, I think it's going to turn out decent, guys. Took most of that out of the tip, so I'm pretty happy with the way that is. It's got a nice little edge on it, so we'll get that cleaned up. I'm gonna go ahead and hit it with this 1200 grit again real fast, just to take off any little burrs that might be on it. That's the finished product on the pin blade there. So now let me get some oil on this, and for the oil I'm going to be using today is this KPL knife pivot lube original. And with this, guys, I love it. I mean, I was sent this by KPL just as a, hey, try this, tell us if you like it. I'm very thankful for it. I think it's a great oil. I love that it's got the little needle point up there so I can get it right down into the pivot points on the knife to get the oil exactly where I need it to be. So that reduces waste, but it works amazingly. This thing Strong springs, guys. I mean, strong. You see a little bit of that crud coming out around that joint there, so we'll wipe that down. Do it a couple more times back and forth. Just work that oil into that pivot real good. Next thing, guys, one thing I do like to use quite often when I'm working, especially with Delrin, do it on the bone, I'll do it on the wood, is this mink oil. So obviously I'm going to go ahead and tell you I'm pretty positive it's not food grade, so I definitely wouldn't put it on something that you're going to be using to cut a lot of food and stuff with. Probably wouldn't taste the greatest. I don't think it would really hurt you. It might make you a little sick after you consume half the can or something, but I do put this on my springs and stuff regularly. It is an oil. It does help protect against water and just overall drying, damaging, stuff like that. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on here. Let it sit for a couple minutes so that Delrin can kind of get a little bit of that moisture replenished. We'll come back and wipe it off, and then I'll actually polish it out. Alright, so it's been sitting for about 5 minutes. Go ahead and come back. Just going to hit it with a microfiber, take all that excess off. You can tell there's already a little bit more life in that Delrin than there was. And then next, I'm going to go ahead and put on my little buffing attachment. This is just Dremel polish. I like using it because it's a pretty lightweight. Once it starts to heat up a little bit, it melts and sits down in the grooves and everything real good. I just kind of spread it out a little bit on there. We're just going to use this to kind of polish out a little bit of that Delrin. With this pad though, even though it's a smaller pad, it does get hot because it's, I don't know if it's wool or what exactly this little polishing cone is. So just be careful if you're using something like this that you're moving it around, not staying in one place too long because you don't want to burn the Delrin or mar it up like I mentioned earlier with using like a fiber wheel. So we're going to do that. And I'll usually start out low just to get it spread out. As you can see, guys, whenever I start out slow. It just kind of spreads that polish out. Then I'll turn it up, and whenever I turn it up, the heat just kind of melts that polish, turns it more into a liquid so it's able to disperse and sink into those grooves a little bit better. And once I do that, I just take it and just wipe it off. There you have it. The next thing, last thing I'm going to do, I'm not really going to mess with the wells. I decided there's not really anything in there. After looking, there's not really a whole lot of anything built up in there. What I am going to do though is I'm going to hit it with my sunshine cloth. So I'm going to grab it and we'll hit the bolsters and everything with it, and then I think we'll call it good. So give me just a minute. I got to locate my sunshine cloth and then we'll finish this knife up. All right, so I've got the magic cloth here. As you can see, this one has been well loved and used. I guess I need to just hurry up and just break down and buy me some more online. These things, guys, I highly recommend them. Awesome little cloth, fairly inexpensive. I mean, I think you can order bulk. I think you can get 3 or 5 for like $25, something like that. It's not super bad. And these things last a long time. Couldn't tell you how many knives I've cleaned or polished with this. And then of course, the most important part, hit those bolsters. And there you have it, guys. The 1977 case rail splitter. At the end of this video, I'll try to have a before and after. And hopefully you're able to tell a drastic difference in the way it did look and the way it looks now. I'm happy with it. I think it looks great. I think it turned out wonderful. You can see that mirror polish now in those bolsters. Just a phenomenal knife. Again, Chuck, thanks for this trade. I'm extremely happy with it. I hope you're happy with your Spyderco. But other than that, guys, I'm going to wrap this video up. We're going on a little over 30 minutes now. I just want to say thank y'all for following along this far. I hope this helps some of you guys out. I hope you have a great week. It's only Tuesday, so a couple more days left. But I hope y'all have a fantastic week. Always remember, guys, stay classy and God bless.